Hi, I'm Dee, owner of the Magic Lab Ritual and Spell Oils, which is a highly rated shop on Etsy, where I create self-empowerment tools for the modern mystic. Here at this channel, I explore the real working practices of magic, energy work, and intentionality. So a lot of what you'll find here at this channel centers around a variety of magical practices, spell work, craft, and not just the theory, but the real techniques that will turn intention, thought, and your emotion into tangible results. So whether you're just beginning or you've been practicing for years, the Magic Lab, this channel, will be a space for learning, experimenting theory, and going down various rabbit holes. But as far as today's video, I'm going to be looking at a core part of working in magic, which is activation. This is otherwise known as one of the final actions of a spell or ritual, meant to set it off into motion, the completion. So I'm going to catalog 10 different activation actions, what their meanings are, common uses in magic, and this list is not exhaustive. So if you have any more that can be added to this list, please comment in the box below. Let's get into it. So we start with burning, or the element of fire, which is perhaps one of the most prevalent themes in a variety of religion, spiritual topics, and magic practices. It usually shows up through the burning of a candle, but it can also involve burning items. Now, fire is dualistic. It represents the destruction of something while simultaneously creating something out of that destruction. If we take fire back to one of its origin stories, we have the Big Bang, which involves the creation of all that is, but also the destruction of all that was. Another example would be the phoenix, which bursts into flames at the time of its death and is reborn from the ashes. In nature, controlled burns in forest management to burn away tinder, but also promote new forest growth, or volcanic lava destroying everything in its path while creating new mineral-rich landforms would be an example of creation out of destruction through fire. Not only is folklore and nature full of rebirth through death metaphors through fire, fire is the element that's associated with energy, passion, purification, and it's also regarded as a sacred object in and of itself and a source of life. So it's no surprise when you look at the intensity of meaning behind fire and how richly layered in symbolism that it is, that one of the primary ways that spells are activated is through fire, through burning. Many spells call for burning candles to completion, often leaving flames untouched for days. The burning of a petition that you've written or a photo that is related to the subject matter of the spell that you've crafted. Typically, burning is used to manifest something, banish or remove something unwanted, or to release and let go of something. And as I've just mentioned, the close relationship between fire and the creation or destruction of something makes it a very practical, meaningful, and quite frankly, obvious way to activate a spell or manifest something into being. Next up, we have ripping or tearing, which is a physical act to tear something apart. It is a release of emotions through engagement of the body. Most often, this ripping refers to ripping of paper, such as a written statement or a photograph. Whatever is on that paper or whatever the object is to be torn apart, it represents something that is no longer wanted or needed. And the act of literally tearing it apart is to remove its functionality, its meaning, its existence, its purpose. It's a physical manifestation of letting go and taking your own power back. It even provides a sensory satisfaction. The sound of ripping and the force of the motion that it takes to tear something apart can create the feeling that you've liberated yourself from whatever it is that item being ripped represents. Ripping as a final act in a spell is useful in releasing, breaking patterns, destroying, banishing. The overarching theme here is to remove something unwanted. Next up is a personal favorite of mine, anointing. Anointing is the act of rubbing a charged mixture or substance onto someone or something in order to imbue it with certain characteristics. We anoint to bless, protect, heal, manifest, or create charmed or cursed objects, just to name a few examples. The most ubiquitous example of anointing would be the use of holy waters in the Catholic or Orthodox and Anglican traditions. Holy water is sprinkled on people, entrances, or doorways of areas to be blessed, altars and religious objects, grave sites, and during exorcisms. But more broadly, anointing is a very ancient practice found in Hoodoo, Wiccan, mystical, ceremonial, and New Age eclectic magic. You can anoint absolutely anything: candles, written entries, people, objects, or places of significance. Anointing is used for manifesting specific outcomes, enhancing a spell's effectiveness, connecting more closely with deities or spirits. Oftentimes, the oil or the potion with which you are anointing has very specific ingredients in it, or it has undergone a certain ritual on its own in order to carry within it a certain meaning or intention. Scattering. Scattering is about releasing control rather than keeping everything in one place or an item in its original form, allowing it to be taken over by the element of air and releasing something to the higher order of things, letting go of the outcome. That's all represented by the act of scattering. Scattering can be combined with ripping or tearing. Rip paper, ashes, something light enough that can be dissipated into multiple directions. Often the location can be significant, but sometimes it's simply about the act of setting something free or releasing. And then on the other end of the spectrum is the act of burying something. In spellwork, this may be your expelled candle, a jar of contents, a box of items, but unlike scattering, burying is not really about releasing control of something, but more about putting it into a very confined, controlled place, underground, in the dirt, where it can stay hidden and intact for a very long time. The location is usually significant. An example would be burying a sour jar in a place where the target is to step over it, thereby activating the intentions within it. There's also an element of keeping the items intact for a very long time because the mode of action is intended to take place over a very long period of time. Next up, we have freezing. Freezing is a means to stop, bind, banish, preserve, or neutralize something, usually an unwanted influence, person, or situation. Some of the more popular freezer-involved spells include the freezer spell, where you take either a photo of a person or a piece of paper with their name and their details written on it, place it in a jar, add additional correspondent ingredients of your choosing, and then you freeze it for a long time to stop gossip or negativity. Binding spells can also involve freezing items as a way to lock in or preserve a state of being. It can also be a way to press pause on something in order to revive or revisit it at a later date, or to prevent something from moving forward. Carrying an item on your person is another way to activate spellwork. This is often done in conjunction with anointing, thus creating a specially charged object that is imbued with certain characteristics. So by carrying this object with you, you are now carrying that energy along with you. Small anointed items can be carried in the purse, the wallet. You often see people with charms hanging from the rearview mirror of their car. Energetic jewelry is another example in a modern trend where jewelry with special properties, crystals, stones, or symbols are worn for protection or certain auras. The act of pouring or splashing a mixture onto something, whether that something is a surface, a person, or in a general direction of something, this is frequently seen in baneful or black magic, banishing work, or protection. It has a similar function to anointing, where the mixture itself that's being used it's got a certain potency or magical characteristic to it, but the difference here compared to anointing is that when you're pouring or splashing, that is more of an aggressive or forceful act. So that's why it's more tied to baneful arts. But you do see you do see this with holy water as well, but more so in the act of exorcism. Next up is the Crossroads. Now, this one is not so much about the type of the spell or the actions that are within it, but it has its own category here because there is an entire class of spell work across many traditions where the specific location of a crossroads comes into the picture in some way. So that could be that you're performing the entirety of the spell or the ritual at a crossroads. It could be that some of the ingredients that you need to source are near a crossroads, or it could be that you are disposing of items at a crossroads, or leaving them as an offering at the end of a spell. It's a symbolic importance of this location that gives the spell its potency. So the Crossroads, it's considered a liminal space. It's a boundary or a type of a no man's land where the normal rules can be suspended. In this space, it's considered easier to contact spirits and deities, make pacts with demons, dispose of what's considered to be dirty. So that could be, after a black magic ritual, disposing of items that you don't want contaminating your environment. The Crossroads is also symbolic of intersection, choice, free will, destiny, and fate, and it is used in magic that deals with those themes. And then finally, we have running water. Releasing ritual remains in running water is a bit similar to scattering, which we covered earlier in this video, but using the element of water instead of air to release or set free the items and in turn your intentions. Similar to scattering, this is used for releasing control of the outcomes. The element of water is cleansing, purifying, and the weight that the water itself introduces can be thought of as a tool of banishment as well. There are also spirits and deities that are thought to reside in water, so ritual items are sometimes introduced into a running water source as an offering. Flushing something down the toilet in a chaotic or baneful spell is also another example of this. That concludes all 10 ways that I've found to activate Spellwork. And as I've stated before, this list is not exhaustive. So if you have more ideas, please put them in the description below. I'd be very interested to see what else you could add. If you like this sort of content, please subscribe. And if you are interested in taking a look at anointing as an activation method, I create ritual spell oils. So if you go to the description box, you'll find the link to see the different spell oils that I create and how to use anointing to activate your own magic. Thank you for watching.